Most people are afraid of the right things. Earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, things you can see coming, things that make noise, things that give you a chance. But on the night of the 21st of August, 1986, in a quiet valley in Cameroon, West Africa, death came in a way nobody had ever seen before. No shaking ground, no rising water, no warning sound. People simply went to sleep and didn't wake up. 1,746 people gone by morning, entire villages wiped out, cattle dead in the fields, birds fallen from the trees. And at the center of it all, a lake, a beautiful, calm, perfectly ordinary lake, sitting in the mountains. It didn't flood, it didn't overflow, it didn't even move. It just exhaled, and what came out of it was invisible, odorless, and heavier than air. A cloud of gas so dense, it rolled downhill like a river in the dark and suffocated everything in its path. No chance to run, no chance to scream, no chance to understand what was happening. One survivor woke up 2 days later surrounded by the bodies of his entire village. His family, his neighbors, his animals, all dead, and he had no idea why he was still breathing. This is the story of Lake Nyos. The night a lake became a killer, and the terrifying truth is that it could happen again. To understand what happened that night, you first have to understand the place. Northwest Cameroon, deep in the highlands, rolling green hills, quiet farms, small villages, communities that had lived on that land for generations. Simple lives, honest lives, and above them all, Lake Nyos, sitting inside an ancient volcanic crater. Deep blue water, calm surface, beautiful in a way that made people trust it. But beneath that surface, something had been happening for centuries. The volcanic rock under the lake had been slowly leaking carbon dioxide into the water, year after year, decade after decade. The deep water was quietly collecting it, holding it under pressure, like a bottle of soda shaken slowly, for hundreds of years. Nobody knew. Nobody could see it. The surface stayed calm. The villages below stayed alive. Then, on the 21st of August, 1986, something disturbed the deep water. Scientists still debate exactly what triggered it. A small landslide, a temperature shift, a pressure change. But something caused the deep water to overturn. And when it did, the lake released 100 million cubic meters of carbon dioxide in a single eruption. The gas exploded upward, pushed the water into a 100-meter fountain, and then fell back down. Cold, dense, invisible. And it started moving downhill, straight toward the sleeping villages below. It was somewhere between 9 p.m. and midnight. Everyone was asleep, and nobody heard a thing. The gas moved like a ghost, hugging the ground, flowing downhill through the valleys, following the exact same paths people used to walk to their farms. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air. That is what made it so merciless. It didn't rise and scatter. It stayed low. It crept under doors, through open windows, into bedrooms where families were sleeping. And it displaced the oxygen silently, right at the level where people were breathing. The brain doesn't sound an alarm when carbon dioxide takes over. There is no pain, no panic. You don't gasp. You don't struggle. You just stop. Most people never woke up. They died in their sleep with no idea. Peaceful on the outside, gone on the inside. But some people were awake that night, and their accounts are the most haunting part of this story. One woman described stepping outside smelling something strange like gunpowder, like something burnt, and then her legs gave out. She fell where she stood. She woke up the next morning surrounded by silence. Her children were inside. They never woke up. Some survivors reported waking up completely paralyzed, unable to move for hours. Their bodies had been so starved of oxygen, the muscles simply stopped responding. Others woke up with burns on their skin, from the concentration of gas pressing against them through the night. The gas had been that close, that intimate, that cruel. And when the sun finally rose over Lake Nyos, what it revealed was beyond any words. The first people to find the villages were travelers passing through. They stopped, and they couldn't move. Bodies in the road, bodies in the fields, families still sitting at their dinner tables as if frozen mid-conversation. Cattle collapsed where they had been standing. Dogs, chickens, birds, everything dead. And the silence was suffocating in its own way. No crying, no movement, no sound at all. Just a valley full of life that had become a valley full of death overnight. One man who survived had been traveling that night and returned in the morning. He ran from house to house, calling names, getting no answer. He found his neighbor dead in the doorway, one hand still reaching toward the handle. He had tried to get out. He almost made it. That image never left the man who found him. Rescue teams arrived hours later. They were completely unprepared. Nothing in their training had prepared them for this. A disaster with no wreckage, no fire, no flood, no destruction, just bodies. In a landscape that looked completely untouched, the lake was still blue, still calm, still beautiful, as if it had done nothing wrong. 1,746 people confirmed dead, some estimates higher, because entire families were gone with nobody left to report them missing. But as investigators began studying the scene, they discovered something that made everything worse. This disaster had not come without warning. The warning had existed for 2 years, and the world had completely ignored it. 2 years before Lake Nyos, another lake in Cameroon, had done the same thing. Lake Nyos, 1,984, smaller eruption, fewer victims, 37 people killed, and the world moved on. No serious investigation. No warning issued to villages near other crater lakes. No monitoring equipment installed. Nothing. Lake Nyos sat just 100 kilometers away, quietly filling with gas, while the world looked the other way. When scientists finally arrived after the disaster, they found something deeply unsettling. The lake was still dangerous. The eruption had released a catastrophic amount of gas, but it hadn't emptied the lake. Not even close. The deep water was still saturated, still under pressure. It could happen again, and there were people still living nearby. Survivors who had nowhere else to go. People who had buried their families and returned to the only land they had ever known. Scientists also discovered something about the weeks before the disaster. The lake's color had reportedly shifted slightly. Small dead fish had been washing ashore. A faint, strange smell near the water. Signs that something was wrong. But in a remote valley with no monitoring equipment, those signs meant nothing to anyone. Because limnic eruptions had no name yet, no protocol, no science, no warning system. The knowledge simply didn't exist. And 1,746 people had paid for that gap with their lives. But what came next sparked a controversy that hit the survivors almost as hard as the disaster itself. The government ordered an evacuation. Leave the villages, leave the land, for safety. But for the survivors, it felt like losing everything twice. These families had farmed that soil for generations. Their ancestors were buried there. Their entire lives existed within those valleys. And now, they were being told to walk away. Many refused. Some slipped back at night, unable to stay away from the only home they had ever known. One elderly woman was found living alone just meters from the danger zone. She told rescuers she would rather die on her land than live as a stranger somewhere else. That single sentence carries the full weight of what this disaster stole. Meanwhile, scientists were working on a solution, a pipe lowered deep into the lake, to slowly release the trapped gas in a controlled way, degassing the lake gradually, instead of all at once. It was elegant. It was simple. It took 15 years to actually implement. 15 years. The first pipe wasn't installed until 2001. By 2011, 3 pipes were running, slowly drawing the danger out of the water. And it was working. But then came the next problem. The natural rock wall holding the lake in place was weakening, eroding quietly. And if it fails, the gas won't just drift downhill. Millions of tons of water will follow it, into valleys now home to hundreds of thousands of people. Lake Nyos is calmer today, but it is not safe, not completely, not yet. 1,746 people lost their lives to something that had no name, no warning system, No place in any science textbook. They didn't die because of a storm or a war. They died because the world simply didn't know enough, and nobody was watching. Their story changed that. Because of Lake Nyos, scientists now monitor crater lakes across the world. The word limnic eruption exists in textbooks today because of what happened in that quiet valley. On one August night in 1986, remember them. And if these stories matter to you, stay with this channel. There are more forgotten disasters that deserve to be told.
The surface, the Earth holds other secrets awaiting investigation.